10 years ago, this is where my home stood in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. I was a single mom of 3 young boys, trying to make ends meet and just doing the best I could. I was living a pretty good life there. My mom had recently moved in with me and come from New Orleans to help take care of the boys, and the kids were all in school doing their thing, and we were just kind of trucking along day to day, and we thought we were pretty content. And one day, all of that changed. On August 29th, 2005, Hurricane Katrina's eye made landfall right over my little town of Bay St. Louis, Mississippi, and nothing was ever the same again. I had to tell my 3 boys that they literally owned nothing but the 3 days of clothes we left with on our backs. It was completely devastating. It was probably the darkest period of my entire life. My dad and my brother both lost their homes as well. And I had no idea where I was going to turn or what I was going to do, but I knew I had to pick myself up and dust myself off and be tough for these 3 boys because they needed me to be their strong mommy. It was rough, but I have to admit we had it better than many. When you go today and take a look at this Katrina Memorial in Biloxi, Mississippi, you can see the names of all of the deceased from our area. And so we were quite fortunate. Many of our neighbors and friends lost their lives. And that, to me, is absolutely unfathomable. We were fortunate that all we lost were our belongings. My company transferred me to Mobile, Alabama, and that's where life really started to turn around for myself and for my boys. We loved it there, and I also fell in love with and married the love of my life and my soulmate. I gained 2 beautiful stepdaughters in the process, and life became more about truly living than existing. My husband loved me the way I was and didn't care about my weight at all, which finally gave me the confidence to work on myself and get healthy for me. We started a hurricane relief charity and began helping others who had been in the same situation I had been in years before. We started to do half marathons together, and our entire life became centered around being healthy and living life to its fullest. And I can honestly tell you, we've never been happier. We have a very full life now, and it's amazing how I went from being this very unhealthy, not confident person and have morphed into this healthy, confident business owner who is surrounded by incredible mentors and friends and family. I never dreamed I would have a career that lets me talk to people about healthy living every single day. If you would have told me that day when I came back to my property that this is where I would be 10 years later, I would have probably just punched you in the face, to be honest. But now God has taken the worst thing to ever happen to me and my kids and turned it into the biggest blessing ever. I wrote a book about my experiences called After the Rain and was thrilled to do my very first book signing in my old hometown of Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. It is amazing to think about how God can take the worst thing to ever happen to you and literally turn it into the best. It's amazing to realize that we never know what God has waiting for us past the bad times, past the hard times, after the rain has stopped and life truly begins.